Welcome in, everybody. It's television time in Tennessee is what it is. And we go live all over the world now on our Circle platforms, which you can find at circlecountry.com. And actually, you can link to the one that works for you when you get to that site. And Circle Now, on-demand programming for up to 24 hours. That's one of the great things about it. If you see something, want to see it again, or you missed it, go, doggone it, you can pull it up for 24 hours. And that's Circle Now, available in your app store. Out nice. Late with Dan and Shay, and you call yourself a mother. There's Kelly Sutton.
Hey, she got fed. It's all fine. She's good. What are you talking about?
You got to tell them about the text message.
She's fine.
Or is that too inside?
Well, she's...
Kelly
let me
says
see,
earlier...
What time is it? Yeah, she's already there.
Kelly says, this is my life.
She sends me a text that says, Dad won't let me do my hair in the car. I don't know why. I just let it go. I'm like, you're fine. Maybe she had hairspray, and he was like, don't spray the hairspray in the car. I don't know.
I miss the 14-year-old girl years.
Oh, no, you don't. Oh, no, you don't.
She's all grown up now and got one of her own. You know what they say about paybacks.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's 7 going on 17.
Yeah. Well, hey, we did have a good time last night at Bridgestone Arena. We had our friends Dan and Shay in town. It was kind of great because they got to hang out at their own house and then run over to Bridgestone and do a show. Haley Woodwards was the opener. Ben Rector was there. We've got a rundown of that show for you. Plus, coming up, there's a song out, Post Malone and Morgan Wallen together, Why You May Already Kind of Know It. So stay tuned. And Lainey Wilson has a pop-up bar that's coming to Nashville. So all those details coming up.
Also, Larissa J. in studio with us.
This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Good morning. If you only knew behind the scenes as you watch on Circle, our streaming platforms of the Circle Now app.
I told her there was time to brew 1 cup of coffee, not 2 cups of coffee.
The Keurig had a little hiccup.
Little issue on the Keurig? Okay.
She walked in here and hit that chair 1 second before going live as smoothly as if she'd been in here all morning, sitting there. So
impressive.
We've done TV for a minute.
You have. Larissa, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Larissa J. is with us this morning, and normally you have a residency. I understand only black artists to have, female artists to have a residency on Broadway downtown.
Yeah, man. I kind of floated around and
you're
found
at
a
the,
home. And
1230 Club?
1230 Club, yeah.
And always on Friday.
Every Friday.
But not today.
Not today. I'm going to Huntsville has recruited me for the evening.
That's my birthplace, Huntsville, Alabama.
Oh, really?
And you're playing at the camp on University Drive in Northwest Huntsville.
But for those who don't know, right across from Bridgestone Arena, right in the heart of downtown.
1230?
Yeah. And what a great venue, huh?
It's beautiful, yes. I played down on the honky-tonk level every Friday, me and my band, Daniel Cox, Nick Bilski, Alex Shames, and we have a good time. So
I said, it's famously owned partially by Justin Timberlake. But he hasn't come in yet just to hang out.
I need him to come hang out and do a duet or something. I think that would,
It did a lot for Chris Stapleton.
I know. I think the same. I think it'd be the same type of thing.
No doubt. But I said he should come in just a spot, check the sound, and make sure.
Some little tweaks here and there.
Sure.
You might have some suggestions.
Oh, that'd be good.
But those gigs downtown, it's not like a 45-minute set. I mean, you're there for hours, right? So how many songs do you have in your head?
Oh, man. I don't repeat any songs unless...
Really? So something you play at 2:30, you won't throw back in at like 5:30?
Not too much. Unless somebody requests it.
Yeah.
We got some everybody knows. We'll do Tennessee Whiskey. We'll do Flowers.
Yeah.
We'll do all those. And then we take requests. So and the rule is if we halfway know it, if one person in the band halfway knows it, we go for it. And if not, I just say it's the Larissa J rendition. You asked for this. And if you don't like it, you can Google it later. So
it's very similar to what Larry Gatlin does with the gospel segment, Stump the Band.
Yes.
And you yell out
we do gospel too.
Any gospel song, and they know it. They say, we know if it was in the Assemblies of God hymn book.
Oh, yeah.
We know it, and we will sing it. You just shout it out, and to see if the band knows it. So it's a highlight on Opry Country Classic shows. Trust me.
But you know what? You cannot replicate those type of chops. Being in a live setting like that, people throwing stuff at you, you winging it. Like there's no better proving ground, really.
Man, we just go for it, and it's fun. And we normally make it my own. It's like my rendition. Just accept it. Accept it.
Well, March is Women's History Month. We wanted to recognize that. Yesterday was Single Moms Day?
Single Parent
Awareness
Day, yeah.
Yesterday. Full-time musician in Nashville. I mentioned your residency on Broadway, the only black woman to have a residency there. You tell us about your airport gig, which is a coveted spot to have.
Yes, well, it's so funny, and that's really how I got my chops together. I started playing there about 6-7 years ago.
At Acme?
No, I started playing. It was Gibson Cafe.
Okay.
That was before the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
I literally knew 10 cover songs and originals. When my friend managed, she was like, "Come on in."
What were your 10 covers? Just 2 or 3.
Like Adele. I think I got Parachute by Chris Stapleton. Like, yeah, Give Me One Reason. Yeah, so I had the ones that every.
Boy, that's a great
That's
song.
a great song.
And so I would repeat those every 45 minutes, which worked because it's pretty much a rotating audience unless they have a delay.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
And so I got to grow so much, play for myself so much, and become, where I'm solid and able to accompany myself for gigs. And then that shut down for the pandemic. And then Puckett's opened up a restaurant a couple of years ago in Concourse D, the new Concourse. And now Acme just opened up. And so I handle the booking for the airports and I do all that. I get to bring other friends and other artists in and I get to just meet a lot of people. And yeah, it's international. So I'm touring without leaving Nashville.
Were you at the airport the day Keith Urban decided to show up?
No, but I heard about it.
Oh, I'm sure you heard about it. Yeah.
It was a Saturday.
Yeah, okay.
So the American Academy of Country Music, the on-ramp program, you're a part of that. Explain what that is.
Inaugural year. Yes. They selected 10 young Black artists, and I barely made the young, but I was 1 year in there. I was in there. And then 10 young Black on the professional side too, but I was one of the artists selected. So they took us in. We get coaching. I have 4 awesome coaches, Chuck Ailey, Lisa Shader, Chelsea Kent, and Mickey Guyton are all my mentors for the
I've
program.
known Chuck for the longest.
Oh, really?
Chuck's been in town
On
forever.
the journalist side
Yeah,
of
he's
the
working
country
me a
music.
new bio. I love Chuck.
good.
He's a good guy.
But that has been,
And that Mickey Guyton,
they might help. She might have a little nuggets here and there.
if requested, could sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl. I'm
That's
just
right.
saying.
Yeah, just drop that. No big deal.
Goals, baby, goals. Yeah, so that has been invaluable. It's just been awesome getting to work with them.
And you have 4 children.
I do.
No way.
That's what I say.
No way.
You are forever young, by the way.
It's a
And,
gift.
How old are they?
My oldest son,
and their names.
Yeah, my oldest son's 17. His name's Caden. He's graduating high school in May.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
And then I have twins that are 13, a boy and a girl, Kingston and Shakira. He just got his ears pierced. She has locks, got the tips dyed purple.
Okay.
So that's where we're at with them.
Yeah.
Then the little surprise, they all were surprises, but the most recent surprise is 6. It's little Miss Sydney.
Oh,
Okay.
and she rules the roost, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's like me in a 6-year-old body. Like,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
So
I've got one of those.
that's
She's
my life.
14.
That's your mini-me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome and terrifying. You're like, oh, I didn't want to look that close in the mirror. Thank you very much.
trip.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Kansas City. Tell us about life in Kansas City and how you came to music and specifically to Nashville and country music.
Well, Kansas City, Kansas. We're born and raised. My parents, they were in ministry all my life. So they were a Church of God in Christ. I heard you mention Assemblies of God. So Church of God in Christ pretty much just broke off from Assembly of God back when Black pastors couldn't get churches.
I'm a preacher's kid.
Oh, me,
Southern
yep.
Baptist. So my friend Tim Stivers, who is a comedian, used to do this bit about the First Baptist Evangelical and Reformed Pentecostal Seventh-day Brotherhood of God in Christ Incorporated.
There you go. Yes.
That's it.
He said, we split off from the big church because they were too liberal.
So we have all. That's a good one.
But anyway, pick up the story.
Oh yeah,
with you.
focus. Yes, so I did violin in elementary school. I was in all city orchestra. I did tenor saxophone in middle school and high school, a cappella choir. We moved from Kansas City to Smyrna, Tennessee in '98 for 5 months. I was in an all black school, kind of hood, to an all rural school. I was the only black girl in the 8th grade.
Oh my gosh.
That was culture shock. Then we moved back because we didn't stay long to Blue Springs, Missouri, where it was like a rich suburb where I was one of 50 maybe black kids, $6 million fine arts building. But when I moved there, I began writing songs on my guitar and piano. Piano is my first instrument, and I think it was just to release therapy. All the culture shock that I was going through my 8th grade year. We moved all that in 8th grade.
Oh, in 1 year?
In 1 year.
But that
8th grade?
must serve you today as an adult
It does.
in the uphill battles, being a black woman in trying to make a go in music, period, in show business, period. But in the heart of, capital of country music.
Right. My family moved here in 2002, so I did finish my last high school, 12th grade was at Hillwood High School.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I went out there and I started living life. I wanted to go to Belmont and be in the commercial performance program, which I auditioned for, and they did not pick me. I got selected for the school. I got accepted, but I was like, I'll show you. And so here we are 20-something years later.
Take that, Belmont. Yeah.
No, they're awesome. But yeah, so I just started taking my guitar out when I was probably about 23, 24, and to Love Noise, which I went to the black spot that I knew, had open mics. Like, what is this girl doing with this guitar in here? And I just kept doing it, and they asked me to do a show. My first show was in Cummins Station.
Oh, yeah.
And then I got pregnant with the twins, took a little sabbatical.
Yeah.
A little year off, and I got myself together, and I went out and started doing writers rounds, open mics. I did my first writers round was at Hotel Indigo,
Oh, yeah.
West End. It's Hotel Aloft now.
That's a hot spot.
That was my first one, and I just kept rocking and rolling, and then I burnt out, not knowing what I was doing, because I was a little black girl running around Nashville with a guitar, just wanted to sing my songs, and I burnt out, regrouped about 2017, came back out. I said, you know what? We're going to simplify it. If I want to make money doing it, so it's either me or a trio, and I just kept it consistent. And from that, we just grown, and I don't know. Here we are. Keep going.
We're going to watch you. We're going to listen to you right now all over the world on our Circle streaming platforms, the Circle Now app, and WSM Radio, and that's WSMRadio.com, 650 AM WSM. Larissa J. is here. The thoughts that happened. That kind of plays into the single parent thing from yesterday.
Yes, because I had my first 3 kids before I got married. Got married and had Sydney. Then we got divorced. Very exciting life. I just like to keep going.
You're a real country music star.
I got a lot to
Right. That's right.
a lot of many choices. But now, when I was 26, I moved back in with my parents when I had the twins. And I was in my mom's bathroom getting ready that night. I gotta do my hair, gotta paint my toes, literally, it was the beginning of the song was my to-do list for the night. And I just wrote a song that I loved, sang it to myself for like 10 years in my bedroom because I just thought it was for me. And a couple years ago, I was at Puckett's in Franklin at a writer's round. I said, I'll let you hear my mama song cross my mind. And people were like, girl, like that is the song. I was like, who knew? I thought it was for me. And so it has resonated because, now I was a single mom when I wrote it, but I've been married, been a stay-at-home mom, been divorced, fighting, trying to get away from the man, all that. And so I've been a stepmom. Like, it has resonated with so many people. I had no idea. It's kind of overwhelming, and I just feel so grateful, and it's surprising a little bit.
More coffee, country, and Cody is on WSM.
Larissa J. is our guest this morning, and we've done the get to know you portion of our sit down, and the 1230 Club is your residency on Lower Broadway. Traditionally, you're there every Friday, but today you leave here, and Huntsville is in your future as you play the camp at 7 o'clock tonight on University Drive, Northwest Huntsville, Alabama. Nashville International Airport, Acme on Monday. You'll be back at work there at the airport, which we referenced. Tell me about, didn't you say something about the 5 spot and a Sunday thing that you did?
Yes, 5 spot, Sunday night. Jason Eskridge is putting together a Sunday night. You love Jason.
I love
Everybody
Jason.
loves Jason.
I love Jason.
Sunday
Eskridge.
Night Soul. It's going to have a whole bunch of women artists from all over Nashville for Women's History Month, and we're going to come together. And I'm going to, of course, be playing my new single, The Thoughts That Happen. I'm going to be celebrating, so come out. It starts at 7. It's going to be a good time.
So your connection to folks like Lauren Daigle and Danny Goki, Carrie Underwood, tell us about that before you play and sing.
Oh, man. So I know Danny Goki. We'll start with him because I'm good friends with his wife and him, Leah said. And so I've got to tour with him a little bit and go to different Utah. That was the most beautiful spot in the world. Then Carrie Underwood, Kyla Jade recruited a choir for her Easter special last year at the Ryman.
Oh, that was
so I was able to be a
stunning.
part of that, and that was an awesome experience. And then Lauren Daigle, Joey Ritchie put together an ensemble for the Dove Awards a little while ago, and so I was able to perform with her there. And she's awesome. The way that she presents herself, social media, exactly how she was in person, and I love that so much. So yeah. It's fun living in Nashville.
You're on fire.
I tell you that.
You're on fire.
Yes.
You mean some people, as they present themselves on social media, is not what they're really like? I'm stunned by this
I
news,
know.
Larissa.
I know.
I've never encountered that. Okay, all right.
Brad Paisley wrote a song about it.
Yeah.
He did, yes. So
about
much
that.
better online, right? Yes.
Well, we
And,
saw your video earlier. You had your kiddos in there. And that was, I mean, that just melts my heart as a mama.
Yes.
Are they musical? Do they take after you?
Yes. Now my oldest son needs to be more musical. He did a musical. He did a musical in the 4th grade, and he told me he retired.
Oh,
So
get it up early.
what do the kids think about Mom
Oh,
as a
I think
performer?
they might think I'm crazy, but they think they love it. They're
Do
so
they?
supportive. They all love coming with me. My older 3 used to always have to come to all of the
Yeah.
writers' rounds. They would sit for 2-3 hours. I have the best kids.
How
Now the
about
little one, definitely. My 13-year-old daughter is actually a tuba player, so I gotta have her write me a music part and give her some credits on a song.
Uh-huh.
On
Yeah.
some tuba pretty soon.
Yeah.
The 13-year-old Kingston wants to pick up electric, so we're gonna get him one this month. And the oldest, I just got to get him, come on back around to the music with your mama. Come on.
Well, Huntsville, you're lucky because you're the next live stop for Larissa J tonight at 7 o'clock at the camp. God bless you. Thanks for
you
coming
so
to see
much.
us
Thanks
this
for
morning.
having
All
me.
right.
Thank you. Good to meet you.
Coffee Country and Cody, WSM Radio, all our Circle streaming platforms. You can link at circlecountry.com, and Circle Now is available in your app store. Go get it on demand, up to 24 hours. That's Kelly Sutton.
Well, last night, Dan and Shay at Bridgestone Arena, it was a big to-do. Yeah, they're out on the Bigger Houses tour. Last night was tour stop number 11. We had Haley Witters opening up, also Ben Rector on hand, which, Ben Rector, you're hilarious. The fact that you came out and put on a big old cowboy hat and did some songs. I mean, I'm not giving up on the fact that we could get Ben Rector to go country. Just putting it out there. So Ben was the middle slot, and then Dan and Shay came out. This was really cute. The beginning of the entire set, they stopped down for a second, and Shay mentioned that this was his son, Asher's, first real Dan and Shay concert in Nashville.
This is his first ever Dan and Shay show. Y'all make some noise for him.
And here he comes, cute as a button.
What's his name?
Asher. He's 6. Now listen to this.
Ames, is there anything you would like to say to Nashville? To be honest, that's exactly what I thought.
Asher, is there anything you want to say to Nashville? Poo poo. And Shay's like, great. That's exactly what I thought you might say. Oh, everybody was up and fired up, having a big old time. It was great. And at one point, there's Aaron and I singing along. It was good. We had a good time there last night.
All of a sudden, Chris Jansen, Take a Drunk Girl Home, is playing in my head.
What? I was drinking water. That was water. Not a single beverage other than water was had last night, but we had a good time. So congratulations to all of them. It was kind of great. Yeah, we were rocking out. I liked it. So
to
thank
get
you to
home.
all of them. 11:30,
What time did you get up?
4:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Are you
That's 5 hours is actually a normal
doable,
night.
yeah.
Well, that's almost every night for me. I go to
Yeah.
bed at 9, wake up at 2:30.
Is it Friday fade time yet? Has it hit you?
Oh, when we are off the air, this will go into Do Not Disturb, and there will be no calling Kelly today.
She'll be when we leave.
Yeah, it's
Well,
She'll
they'll
be
be calling Kelly. There'll be no Kelly
yeah,
answering.
It'll go straight to voicemail.
Kelly will still be. She'll be asleep in her car in the parking lot
Hey,
before she starts.
sometimes
it
it gets real cozy out there. You're like, it's nice and warm, and the sun is on me. I'll just lean it all the way back. Yeah. Congratulations, Mackenzie Porter. Baby girl is here. You mentioned that she was doing the Opry like 2 months before she delivered. So baby girl came on March 14th. She was 7 pounds and 17 and a half inches long, cute as a button, and a cute little name to go along with it. They're calling her Bowie. Her name is Bowen James Porter Etheridge, but she goes by Bowie. So this was the sweetest sentiment. She said, our daughter took her first breath, and now she is forever the reason we breathe.
And say it again. The full name is
Bowie. Her name is Bowen James Porter Etheridge. That's a lot of words.
first thing that popped in my head was Jimmy Bowen,
Jimmy Bowen.
the legendary producer,
Aw.
musical producer. When you said Bowen James,
Sweet. Bowen James, Bowie. We've got bars from Florida Georgia Line, Jason Aldean, Oh, gosh.
Old Red, Blake Shelton.
Red, Dierks Bentley, Miranda Lambert. I mean, literally everybody's got a bar. And Lainey Wilson's like, hey, right over here.
Garth
How about
Brooks.
it? Garth's place is now open. Lainey is going to be doing a pop-up bar. It's Lainey Wilson and Barmen 1873 Bourbon. They're teaming up to launch a Lainey Wilson-themed pop-up bar. Hold My Bourbon Bar is going to be the name of it. I like it. They're saying it's country with a flair. Get it? Flair. They're going to be doing Lainey-inspired cocktails with barmen. They've got old fashions and all kinds of cool things. It's going to be happening April 5th and 6th and 7th. It's going through there at Good Times Full Service Bar in Nashville. So if you know where Good Times is, they're going to be doing a Lainey Wilson pop-up bar. That could be a little taste of things to come if Lainey likes it. Maybe she might be the next one that has one on the way. Okay, we know that Sarah Evans has now reconciled with her husband Jay, and I just thought this was something that we were like, oh yeah, she's been really open about what she's gone through. She went through a divorce. They filed for divorce, I think, in 2021. I think it was finalized in 22. I don't know that for sure, but she said, I know this is going to make a lot of people mad, but I want them to know we've reconciled and we are back together. So
we know because we saw him together at the Opry.
Well, and that was the thing. I saw him there and I just thought, well, that's really cool that he's supporting her on the night that she was being inducted because, yeah, this is a big deal. You know, even though they might not still be together, that he would support her like that.
Coffee, country, and Cody.
Hey, as you watch now on our Circle streaming platforms and the Circle Now app, I know what you're saying. Hey, it's the Music City Trucks guys. It sure is. And they helped us out in meeting them the first time, Charlie, by wearing their shop shirts with their names on them.
That's nice.
So welcome, Eric. That's Eric Smart and Joel McMillan.
Thank you for
to
having
Coffee,
me.
Country, and Cody. It's good to see you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
So the first thing comes up at PowerNation.com is you doing some work for Clint Black.
Yep, we just finished up a build for him, a 1960 Ford F100. You may remember Bill back on his Killin' Time record back in the 90s. He had two music videos that he had it in, which was Killin' Time and Better Man. He drove that truck in those music videos, and it's been sitting in storage ever since, and he approached us with the project. He wanted to get it back out on the road for his 35th anniversary tour that he's doing this year.
Yeah, and he did the residency recently at the Ryman back in February.
And that is actually where we just revealed the truck.
Wow.
We parked out front of the Ryman, and all of his fans got to take some pictures and stuff and hear the story on it, and it was a really unique, cool experience.
So what is the backstory? I mean, when did he buy it originally, you know?
So what he told us is that he found it to use it in those two music videos, and after shooting them, he decided that he just had to have it. So he bought it, drove it for a little bit, and it broke down on him in, 91? Mm-hmm. It broke down in the Houston Rodeo Arena, and it went into storage after that. And, it spent some time in the Country Music Hall of Fame, got tucked away. It got flooded at some point. We actually found that out here at the Opry when we were here last week, 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. We revealed it to him out in front of the Opry, and that's when we found out that this is actually where it flooded.
Oh.
So
a lot of things
like
flooded. A lot of things flooded.
Yeah.
So 3-speed in a column?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
223 inline 6, very basic package for those trucks back in the day. But as you guys probably know, like trucks nowadays, they got all the fancy navigation, air conditioning, heated seats. But back then, trucks were just trucks.
You farmed with them.
They had
ranched with them.
One purpose in life was to work on the ranch or the farm, or going to the diner first thing in the morning. Construction. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yep. And they were just workhorses, and that's exactly what that truck was back in the day. And so we wanted to keep that tradition, and Clint had distinct memories of driving that truck. So we didn't want to, I say we didn't want to hot rod it. We wanted to hot rod it, but Clint wanted his old truck back because he wanted to reminisce on those old memories. So we put a 223 inline 6 back in it for him, 3 on the tree, gave him all new suspension, rebuilt the rear axle. Our friends at Summer Racing gave us a bedwood kit, so the bedwood in the back of that thing was completely rotted out and rusted out, and it took us all day to even just cut the rust and all the old wood out. So we completely refurbished and restored the bed in it, and so on the outside, the truck looks exactly the same. Like, you could look at it from the music video and what it looks like today, but when you get into the engine bay and the suspension and everything else is brand spanking new.
AM radio?
Well,
no. So as far as the radio goes, that truck didn't have one from the factory
At all?
Nope. Because
this was as bare as you're going to get.
it was as simple as it could be. So we have an audio guy down in Columbia at the Outlaw Garage, and he hooked us up with an what was it, custom auto sound, classic style radio, old school knobs and everything, but it's modernized. It's got Bluetooth and everything. We put some Rockford Fosgate speakers in it for him, so it does have a radio now.
Okay.
And actually works really well.
So I'm curious, there have been scenes in many movies where, you go out to an old barn and they pull the tarp off and there's this car that's been sitting there for 40 years.
It's always a Corvette.
And it looks and it looks pristine because the sun hasn't gotten it. Sure. But what are the pros and cons of finding a car like that and that really hasn't been touched in 2 or 3 decades?
Well, you always got to factor in the safety.
Yeah.
The brakes have been rotted out, the fuel system's rotted out, and that's what we ran into on a Clint's truck. Is just everything just needed completely replaced, because when you have an abandoned vehicle, a truck or anything, you try and get it running and you just throw it back out on the road. And, you're not sure if the brakes are going to work. You don't know if the fuel system leaks. You have to go through and do a pre-trip inspection and make sure all of that is good to go. And especially when you're doing it for someone like Clint Black, you want to make sure everything's right.
Do you find that sometimes things have found their way to be living in the vehicle, even though it looks really good?
So
funny story.
Yeah, about that. So when we pulled the bed out, there was a sheet of plywood on top of the original wood that was put in that bed in 1960, and a mouse had managed to get its way in there, and it obviously did not make it. It was about as flat as a pancake. Yeah. So thankfully that was the only thing we found in there that would have been living at one point.
When did we go from wooden beds to metal beds? And then inserts, of course, to keep the
each
metal.
manufacturer kind of started at their own pace and their own time.
Okay.
Usually the metal beds really became popular in the mid 60s. It was kind of a standard from there, but you could still get a wood bed even all the way up to the 80s on a few manufacturers. So it was all customer specific. If they ordered it from the factory with a wood bed, it could go as late as the 80s, but it really came into their own around the 60s.
As a guy who grew up on a 3-speed in the column, there's nothing, Clint Black, like trying to merge into Nashville traffic with a 3-speed in the column.
We know.
Huh?
There it is.
You wind that thing in first gear up to 10,000 RPM.
Yeah.
Now
Drop it. Go.
It was definitely a fun,
boy.
a fun catch up trying to remember how to drive one of those, because I hadn't driven one since high school, and Joel, I know it's been a while for you too, because they're so outdated these days. Most people get rid of them for a floor shift or an automatic.
And when did the 3-speed in the column, when did it disappear?
That was early 80s?
Yep.
Because they actually used them for quite a while, because that was the most base model option you could get for most cars and trucks. It was an inline 6 with a 3 on the tree.
Yeah.
But they started phasing that out as automatics became more viable as a cheaper option than a 3-speed.
If I recall, reverse was up and back, right? You pull
towards you and up.
Up towards you, yeah.
Yeah, but then it was an H pattern, so towards you and up is reverse, towards you and down is first, away from you and up is second, away from you down is third. So
Wow.
lesson on 3 on the tree for all you listeners.
And in Nashville traffic, that's the last thing we heard him say.
Oh my gosh. Last seen on Briley Parkway, just over on the corner.
Never spoke another word.
When did you guys start a TV show? Let's talk about that. We haven't talked about your show.
Again, this is Joel McMillan, Eric Smart from Music City Trucks.
So the show's been on Music City Trucks has been on the air for about, this is our 4th season.
Yeah, we're rolling into the 4th season right now.
Yep, this is me and Eric's first season together, though. I previously hosted a show called Detroit Muscle, which is also on Power Nation. One of the veteran hosts I was working with, Eric, decided to retire, and so they needed a replacement, so they asked me to be part of the truck show, and I gladly accepted, and it's been a fun ride since then.
And you can watch full episodes and shorts. Kelly referenced the show, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, PowerNationTV.com, and then locally seen on MyTV 30, WUXP. MyTV 30 is their Nashville television home.
And I want that beach cruiser, by the way. I've already found that one.
That's
on
dibs?
Dibs on the beach cruiser.
Okay, all right.
It's beautiful.
The backstory on your careers and how you got into mechanics.
So, I mean, it's a little similar for both of us. We both grew up working on cars with our dads.
Where?
So I'm from Washington State. Joel, you're from Wyoming. Small towns, really not a whole lot to do. So what do? You go wrench on something in the garage and hope you can get it running to take it out for the weekend. So I small town in Washington State. I enlisted in the Marine Corps from out of there, served 4 years, and then stuck around North Carolina for a little bit after I got out. Went back to being a mechanic. I worked in a few shops.
Well, North Carolina for mechanics is a pretty good place to be, is the NASCAR World Headquarters.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of work out there for guys like us. And then, I just did my thing for a few years, and I saw that Power Nation was looking for a host and decided that, I could do that. And, well, they made the mistake of hiring me, so here I am.
Love it.
Sometimes it's harder than it looks, isn't it? Yeah. How about you, Joel?
Well, Power Nation has been around for a while, roughly 25 years. So I literally grew up watching these shows, and just like Eric, working on cars and trucks growing up. So these are the guys, even the guys like Tommy and Pat that are still on these shows. I watched these guys as a teenager. So to be able to work alongside those guys on a daily basis, it's truly an honor and a privilege. And, I working on cars as a teenager, and then I went to tech school in college, worked in a few hot rod shops, and then I kind of took a break from doing it as a career. I went ahead and joined the oil field, so I did that for about 7 years. But I still did all the cars and trucks on the side just as a hobby. And, and Power Nation, same thing. They were looking for a host, and I threw my hat in the ring, and next thing I know, I'm on a plane to Franklin, Tennessee.
So whose idea and what was the story behind the caddy hearse makeover?
Oh man,
do you know that one?
That's more. Yeah, that's more your side of things.
So our my other co-host when I was on Detroit Muscle, his name's Tommy Boschers, veteran host. He's been doing this for a really long time, and he loves weird stuff, and he loves big-bodied cars. And he came up with this idea. He always wanted to do a hearse. It was very off the wall. It took some convincing on the boss's part, to do something like this. But he wanted a high horsepower vehicle that he can take down a drag strip. That way, he could almost say that it's the only hearse that's ever gone down an 8-mile drag strip around 6 seconds.
If it didn't have a license tag that said "Highway to Hell," I don't know why.
Right.
That would have been perfect.
It's not called the Undertaker. It's called the Overtaker.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yep.
And that's Tommy's creativity right there.
Well, you can link to it too, and a lot of things that you guys have done. Kelly, you referenced earlier from my childhood, an AMC Javelin.
Yes.
American Motors, if you don't remember them.
Oh, wow.
They gave us some, the Javelin. All the kids were talking about the Javelin back in the day.
Yeah, and that's a real off-the-wall car. It's kind of small, compact muscle car, and that was just another traditional build that Tommy wanted to do. The Krager SS wheels, high performance, kind of give that hot rod rake to it because...
But it had a huge motor in it, didn't it, as far as power?
Yes. Had a 351 cubic inch power plant that the boys at Engine Power doctored on. And it was just one of those cool cars, and we call it the hot rod recipe, where you focus on the stance, the finish, and the tires and wheels, and everything else will kind of take care of itself, and any vehicle can become cool with that recipe.
Well, I'm curious, what do you drive day-to-day driving?
So day-to-day right now, I for a while I was driving a 76 Chevy, but
76, that was my high school graduation year.
Oh.
Wow.
It's a good year.
Yeah, very good year. Bicentennial and everything. No, I was driving that for a while. I pulled it out of a field in North Carolina where it had sat since the mid-'80s and, got it back on the road and just drove it, put the miles on it. And I got hit last July by an ambulance while I was driving it. And so it's down for the time being. It'll be back eventually. So the truck got wrecked on a Friday. And by Sunday, I had an 88 Ford Bronco 2 delivered in my driveway for $900. And it looks like it costs $900, but it gets the job done. So.
I know where there's a 76 Chevrolet pickup truck right now. Daniel Cheney, my up-the-road neighbor, and we knew the original owner was like a grandfather figure to him, just a neighbor as a kid growing up. And my daughter and her husband bought it. At one point, changed ownership about 3 times after Mr. Robert passed away, Mr. Robert Yates. And it had that, remember that burnt orange that Chevrolet did back during that time period in the 70s with white. It's two-tone. Mm-hmm. And it was I want to say it was an automatic. But yeah, when you see something sitting there, you go, that's the year that car was so in, or that truck was so in. this case, 1976.
And they're super popular right now too, because like the square body Chevrolets, they exploded in popularity just in the past 10 years because dudes grew up with those trucks, and now they have the money and the means and the resources to build them, and now they're selling for high dollar if you restore one.
So I know you're always looking for new projects. If a man were to say bring you like a 2012 Fiat Pop, what? I mean, I'm sure you've been wanting to do that project.
I'm sure
for a
they
long
noticed
time.
a canary yellow sitting in the parking lot when they pulled in this morning.
I don't like to shame people. I usually don't park so obviously, But,
all I can say is you can do some amazing things with the Sawzall and a welder.
Okay.
And what do you drive, Joel?
Well, I'm a little bit more bougie than Eric, so I drive 2019 Ram pickup, but I've always been a muscle car guy. My high school car was a 69 Chevelle. So, I get where Eric's coming from on as long as it can get you to work, but some days in those hot Tennessee summers, it's good to have that air conditioning.
That's what windows are for,
right?
Well, that's Eric Smart and Joel McMillan. You see them on Music City Trucks, and you're seeing them now on Coffee Country and Cody. Our pleasure to have you in this morning, guys.
It's been great.
We hope you'll come back, and you can see them in so many different ways. Full episodes and shorts are on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, PowerNationTV.com. Locally, WUXP, that's my TV 30, and PowerNationTV.com. Pull up the website, and you can do a deep dive into a lot of fun, including Clint Black's F100.
Now available, new episodes of My Opry Debut, including One the Duo.
First black mother-daughter duo to grace the Opry stage.
A mother-daughter duo consisting of Takitha, a featured vocalist on many Wu-Tang Clan albums, and Prana Supreme, daughter of hip-hop legend RZA. Please welcome One the Duo!
I want to make sure that Prana and I deliver something special, that they will leave knowing that they felt some kind of love and some kind of charge that lifts them up.
One the Duo, not before they stopped by to see us that morning, before they headed to the Opry. Just saying. My Opry debut. One the Duo, new episodes, Kid G, Angela Johnson Reyes, funny lady, and we love her. You invited her recently when you saw her.
I did,
yeah. Okay. All
well,
right.
she has a baby, so she's kind of like sleep deprived. But I did say, if you're up, you just come on by. And she said, well, you guys haven't invited me. And I said, no, it's open door. You just walk by and wave. So, yeah, she knows.
Artemis Pyle, Devin Gilfillian, lots more on the Opry's YouTube channel. Young Love Saturday Nights, 18 tracks, Chris Young, and he wrote 15 of them.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Well, Cody Johnson, he did the double album, the last one that he put out. And he said that didn't turn out the way that I had planned. He was not happy because he had all of these songs, and he thought, well, my catalog now, I can go to the bullpen and I can release another song, and the fans wanted new stuff. So that's why Leather is not as many tracks. We thought Leather was going to be a double album. That he told me that at one point it was a double album, and he said, no, we're going to do Leather. And then later on, we're going to do Leather Deluxe, and that will have like 12 new tracks on it. So he understands the game now of marketing and not putting everything out all at one time.
Well, if you think back, we're constrained by things that were 50, 60 years old. Because, back in the day, a record, an album, vinyl,
yes.
You can fit about 28, 29 minutes on a side of vinyl, but it compromises the sound. So about 20 minutes is the perfect optimal sound for one side of an album.
Which would be, what, 8?
40 minutes.
8 songs?
10.
8, okay.
10 kind of, like five 4-minute songs fit comfortably on each side. So 10 songs was like an album forever.
Yeah.
And then CDs came around, and you could do 74 minutes, and now you can do 80 minutes, but nobody buys those anymore. So now you can it's on Spotify. I could do 100 songs in my album if I wanted. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So there's a freedom to that, I would think, because anything you want to do, you can do.
It's the double mindset. Do you want the entire season all at once, or do you want it to trickle out episode per week?
A.
Is it the delayed gratification or the binge watching? It's kind of...
I want A.
You want A. See,
Yes.
I kind of like having the trickle out.
I'll wait till it's finished and watch it all at one time.
And I've done that too,
Yeah.
so I'm guilty of that.
I'd like to share a Grandpa Jones story that came to mind when you said leather.
Okay.
Everyone had a nickname with Grandpa Jones, followed by the word H-O-L-E.
Oh.
Hole. or a variety of different kinds of holes.
Well, that's okay.
And
I'm thinking of
I, somewhere along the way, was once referred to as Leather Hole. So that will be the name of my album. If Cody Johnson can do leather, Bill Cody can do Leather Hole.
Wow.
What do you think?
We could workshop it.
And I'll get Charlie to design, the master it.
Yeah.
So
we don't have to stick with that. But we can. It's on the board.
Yeah.
Put it on the board.
Let's let that settle and see how it.
Circle back. We'll circle back to that.
And
circle back.
Yesterday, we learned that in Union County, over at Norris Lake, a gentleman caught a 4-foot alligator.
Right.
TWRA has confirmed it. My thought was, we wait till everybody is seated one night when Chris Jansen is playing the Grand Ole Opry, darken the Opry House, and turn the alligator loose and see what happens.
Well, there we go.
Whoever catches it gets a new pair of boots. Brought to you by Durango.
He's got people flapping their wings and jumping up and down and doing all the things.
Okay, so let's talk about Lainey Wilson doing this pop-up bar. This is pretty cool. Everybody else has a bar, and Lainey's like, I want in on this action. So Barman 1873 Bourbon came to her and said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take over an existing bar and do like a pop-up Lainey bar, and we're going to do a bunch of featured drinks that we think you would like using our bourbon. It's going to be happening April 5th, 6th, and 7th, I see, at Good Times Full Service Bar in Nashville. If you want to get tickets, you have to get tickets in advance, and that's going to be at barman1873bourbon.com. That's a very long website. Probably just search out Lainey Wilson Pop-Up Bar and you'll get it. But yeah, they're going to be doing Wildflowers Old Fashioned, which I do really like. That's probably my favorite. If I'm doing a cocktail, that's my go-to.
Yeah, and it is old-fashioned with an ED. When you hear people say it,
old-fashioned.
Old-fashioned. I was looking up ingredients earlier just to see what, because I didn't know what was in an old-fashioned. I don't know if I've ever had one.
Oh, they're tasty. If you like bourbon,
yes.
If you like bourbon and you like that flavor, then that to me is my favorite.
All right,
muddle the sugar with the cherry at the bottom, bitters, then the bourbon.
Orange.
I like the block of ice as opposed to cubes, like the
so
one big
bougie.
block.
You're
then
bougie.
the orange peel, and I also like 2 or 3 extra of the really high class cherries. Like those Morellos that are.
How many times did Hank Jr. just say "I" in giving us a recipe and how he likes his drinks?
Just 7.
Brother. 1.5 ounces of bourbon or rye.
Yeah.
Well,
1 sugar cube. 2 dashes of Angostura bitters.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're making a really small one, 1.5.
And then a few dashes, a dash of plain water.
Yeah.
There
I
you
would
go.
go with 3 and a little simple syrup. But go ahead, continue.
Okay.
I was drinking mine, not yours.
I'll drink both.
This is
and by you
those...
garnish with cocktail cherry or orange
I
slice.
like the orange slice.
Okay.
The orange slice, and
All
you
right.
do it around the
Charlie
rim
will,
of the
Charlie will
glass.
tell you what you like.
That's nice. Oh yeah, because it's what's it called? It's called
You do this spritz.
spritz it. Yes,
Yeah, you
it
spritz
releases the orange peel.
And if you really want to get fancy, you take the orange peel and you can slap it like you do mint, because you know you're supposed
That's what
to
I
do
meant
that
by
with
releasing
mint.
it. Yes.
Yeah, you have to hit it. You don't squish it, because if you squish it, not good form.
$34.59 at Total Wine, Barman 1873. Very affordable bourbon.
Yeah,
Very affordable.
I haven't tasted it, but I put it on the list. Right. And if you want to watch one thing over the weekend, I highly recommend Sam Hunt's new video for Locked Up. I'm leaving it at that. It is an ode to Johnny and June when Johnny was singing in Folsom Prison. It's a beautiful sight. It's a great song, too.
Hey, as we wrap things up this morning, we want to say happy birthday to one of our own. Nashville's Reese Witherspoon is 48 years old today.
Love her.
And with March Madness, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that Bob Costas is 72 years old today.
Oh.
Charlie, take us to the Friday Night Opry House. You're going to be there in a little while.
Ranger Doug had a birthday this week. He and Riders in the Sky will be at the Opry tonight, along with Eddie Montgomery, Connie Smith, Home Free, Willie Carlisle makes his debut, Craig Morgan, Tiger Lily Gold, and Ricky Skaggs will wrap it up.
And one of your friends, Sarah Beth Tate's coming to see us on the Monday show. And she's got this great new song and a video to go with it with her husband and her family, her growing family called Pretty Good Living. See you there.